Good morning and welcome back to Margin. This morning, we're going to talk about how your expenses score within your financial snapshot. So let's jump right into it. When it comes to managing the expenses in your life, it's important to look at what you are spending, where, why, and to what extent you are spending in that area. And that's why I stress so much the importance of operating within a budget, because it actually tells you how much you're spending and whether you're spending more than you should be, and also having category expectations with regards to how much you should be spending in each category. And so jumping into scoring yourself on your expenses, this may or may not mean that you are operating within a budget or a plan to spend. So when it comes to how you're doing in managing your personal finances, and more specifically your expenses, it can be so hard to pinpoint what you should be spending where. And that's why I went through the whole process of going through a plan to spend and a projected focus on categories within your budget so that you can have something to go off of to figure out whether that percentage allocation makes sense for your budget or not. And so going through this process of scoring your expenses may be a little bit sobering, and that's intended, that's intentional, because it's important for you to be able to see how you are bringing in money, how you're bringing in an income, and where that income is actually going to, and whether that income is actually covering the lifestyle that you are leading. So jumping into the specific columns, under the excellent column, this means that your expenses will fall at or above 15% below your income. So that may be a little bit confusing, but when it comes to your income, most people spend at least their income, whatever's coming in, or more. And so this means that your expenses fall at least 15% below what your take-home pay is or more. So this means that between the housing, health expenses, food, and the like, you are able to build a large amount of margin into your finances. This means that you're able to increase your savings as well as increase your retirement contributions. So if you are in the very good column, this means that you are spending 10% or less on your expenses below what you are bringing in, below your take-home pay. So this means that you're building in some margin still and that you are intentionally living below your means. So the good column would mean that you are operating at 5% or below when it comes to your expenses in comparison to your take-home pay. So this means that you're saving just a little bit each month after all of your expenses are paid. So the fair column would mean that you are operating at your take-home pay. This means that everything that comes in is going right back out. This means that you are living paycheck to paycheck, that you are not building appropriate margin in the event of having a furlough or having a job loss, that you are not actually building in the necessary margin between you and life. So moving on to the poor column, this would mean that you are actually operating above your income. This may mean that you are putting additional expenses on your credit cards and those balances are growing month to month, or that may mean that you're taking out additional loans to supplement your lifestyle. So the insufficient column comes down to you operating without a plan to spend, without a plan to operate within your means, and that you don't really have your fingers on the pulse in regards to whether you are operating within your means, that you are not, overextending yourself or getting into more and more debt each month because of your lifestyle extending past your income. So the first step of the process comes down to knowing where you're at. This may entail you going through the past 90 days of credit card or bank statements to figure out what you're spending in what categories, and being able to then accurately assess which column you fit into and how urgently you need to address your expenses. Now, for many people, they don't know where they're spending their money. They just know that at the end of the month, there is more month than there is money. And so for you, you want to go into this with a level of intentionality of finding out where you are actually spending your money so that you can be intentional going forward. Now, the second step of the process for that is really to look at those aspects that you've been spending on in your credit card statement or in your bank statements that were not necessary, that were aspects that didn't actually add value to your life, and going through and actually highlighting those aspects that didn't add value to your life, didn't add value to your quality of life, and being able to immediately know where those are coming from and be able to limit or cut those out entirely. So going through that process, what you'll find is you immediately give yourself a raise. You immediately build margin to your finances by cutting out those things that don't actually truly add to your quality of life. They don't truly matter to you. And being able to be intentional to make sure that those things don't creep in, that don't actually matter to you and your goals. So my call to action today comes down to where you actually rate with your expenses, which column you align with most. This will be helpful as we go through this process so that you know which area is causing the most pain in your finances. If this information is helpful to you, please do like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're reminded to come back on a daily basis and improve in managing your personal finances. Thank you for your time. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.